Hello, and welcome back to Just Talking About Sports. I'm Ethan.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Michael.
And Matthew, what are we doing today?
Just talking about sports.
Thank you. Woo! And today we are back with another conference championship video for college basketball. It's going to be a hectic week this week as we're going to be trying to post as many of these videos as we can. We're going to be getting together almost all week. So be on the lookout for all these types of videos that we're having because we're going to be trying to break down every single conference before March Madness and before Selection Sunday. Because why? Because we absolutely love college basketball. So today we're going to be covering 4 conferences today instead of 3 because we want to spice things up. And because conferences have been all over the place on scheduling, so it's been a little bit harder to try and fit exactly when each conference is going to be in. So today we're going to be covering the Ohio Valley, the Patriot Conference, the A-10, and the Atlantic Sun. The first 3 mentioned are all starting on Wednesday, and the Atlantic Sun starts Thursday. So without further ado, we'll just jump right into our first conference. This one's going to be the Ohio Valley. There's usually kind of, I think I would call it a one team up there, kind of like our Goliath, but then they've kind of been a little bit hurting recently. That's the Belmont Bruins. They are in first right now. And then you got Morehead State right behind them. And then you got Eastern Kentucky, Jacksonville State. Remember, rest I don't care about. So for this conference, it's been pretty interesting. Belmont was supposedly going to be able to have a chance at an at-large bid, but their last 2 losses make it a little bit more questionable. So we'll start out with you, Matt. What are your thoughts and your pick for the Ohio Valley?
Well, the Ohio Valley Conference has been led, as you said, by Belmont and has been led by their star center, Nick Muszynski. The issue is he's been injured for the past couple of games, and that's the reason they have 2 consecutive losses. He's expected back in time for the tournament. They said they would be surprised, according to Michael, at least this is what he said. Said they would be surprised if he wasn't ready. So I would say that getting him back is a big deal. Well, you're heading into a 2-loss streak, not exactly the best thing. You've got Belmont's been really good. Heading into that, they had 1 loss this season, and I had told, and if you've been listening, I've said multiple times they deserve to be in the top 25. Now here's the problem. You've lost 2 in a row in a pretty bad conference, and now you're in trouble. If you don't win this conference, this is to Belmont specifically, if they don't win this conference, I don't think they get in. So a lot more pressure on them now in this tournament. Luke Smith has been their other big guard. The other team I want to discuss very briefly is Morehead State, because I think this is a team flying under the radar. They're 20-7, 17-3 in conference with 4 consecutive wins. And they are led by Johnny Broome, averaging 13, 8, and 1 assist, really. That's it. But you take a look at just how dominant Morehead State's been over their past couple of games. You look at their scores. They're winning games consistently, and they're winning by a lot. They were one of the teams that took down Belmont. They beat Tennessee State by 14. It's Tennessee State, whatever. Congratulations. You're winning a majority of your games by double digits or very close to. And I'm going to go with the bold prediction and say that Belmont doesn't win this conference. I think Belmont has been very talented. I really like Belmont a lot. I think that they deserve to be in after the season they've had. But Morehead State's riding the hot hand, and I think they take them down at the end of this conference.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more. I think Belmont runs through this conference. They've been the best team. Nick Muszynski should be back for the tournament. He's their best player. They run a lot of their offense through him. He's back. They'll be fine. They got a couple good guards. Grayson Murphy's a good player. I mean, I just think they're so much better. And I don't even think Morehead State, I don't think they make the final. Usually in smaller tournaments, I like to go with a team that has one really good player who can just take over. And the Austin P Governors open the fly. Let's go P. They have Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor is 5th in the nation in scoring and 9th in rebounding. He's a beast. They're the 6th seed. Doesn't matter. They were expected to be better earlier in the season. I thought they'd be better, and I don't like admitting I'm wrong, so I think they make the final. I got Belmont kicking down Austin P in the final.
All right. I'll keep mine short just because you guys have covered most of it. I know Belmont has had their struggles, but I can't pick against them of how strong, because they've just been so strong this year in terms of the season. They were on a 21-game winning streak. They had 90 votes or 90 or 80 votes on the AP poll. We're just about to make it right when he got injured and right when they lost 2 straight, and they're not going to be having any votes anymore. But I think regardless, I think they're going to be able to bounce back. And they got 1 more game before the conference starts, and I think they'll be able to knock out whoever is going to be going up against them. I mean, Morehead State Matt, I like the choice, but I think those 3 losses that Morehead State had were kind of not so good losses that they had in the conference. They lost to Belmont, but they also lost to I'm trying to find it. They lost to SIUE, or which is Southeastern Missouri State. Not a good loss. So I think, or excuse me, SIU Edwardsville, wrong team, but still I think this Belmont team is going to take it, and they're going to be able to cruise into March Madness. Not as high as the seed as they had last time, but they're going to be able to make it.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say really quickly before we move on, you know how big an advocate I've been for Belmont, and I do believe they deserve their spot in this tournament. This is very similar to the Murray State situation a couple of years ago when they didn't win the conference but still got in as a first 4. It's what I want to see from Belmont. Problem is, I do think that Muzinski coming off an injury is not going to be 100%. And granted, they'll get through the rest of this conference pretty easy. But Morehead State, I do believe, has that edge at the end of the day. They've also come off of a recent victory against them, which is extremely powerful at this point. So that's why I take Morehead State.
All right.
Let's go, Pete. That's all I got.
All right, we'll move on to the next conference. This one's one we're going to try and zoom through. It's going to be the Patriot Conference. We were not going to cover this one in this video, but we just learned that they ended up moving their conference championship up, and they're actually starting their play tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And so we're going to actually try and cover them now, because if not, we're not going to be able to put our predictions in time. So this conference is a little bit more interesting. They're lesser known and likely going to get a 15 or 16 seed. So at the top, you got Colgate and Navy, and I have no interest in saying anybody else because it has been a rough time for everybody else in this conference. So, Matt, we'll continue with you. Who do you got in this conference?
Well, Colgate had no chance to play out of conference games. They're 11-1 in conference, 11-1 total. So pretty good record, pretty good domination. And they don't have any out of conference experience. So don't pick them in your brackets. But Navy, 15-2, 12-1 in conference, coming off a 5-game winning streak. Granted, Colgate's won 10 in a row. But you take a look, I'd say this is a 2-man horse race. Don't forget about Lafayette there, though. They're the 3 seed. They easily won the central side of the division, the Patriot League. But I think, to me, you look at the team with the more experience, the more success, and I have to go with Navy and Cam Davis averaging 17. I believe that at the end of the day, Navy has the experience and has the overall advantage because of that. I'm gonna take Navy here, but Colgate will be a very, very difficult out. But I think this is for sure your championship, Navy and Colgate. But I think Navy takes this one.
Michael, your thoughts?
I'm iffy on this conference. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm going ahead. I'm iffy on this. I think Navy might be we haven't seen Colgate play them, so we don't really know. But Navy, they started the season off. They got killed by Maryland, but then a game after the next, they go in to McDonough Arena and beat Georgetown. I mean, that's a pretty impressive win for a Patriot League team. Team's good, veteran led, as you mentioned. Cam Davis, very good player. He's really good in the ball screen. He sort of stopped, but at the same time, this Colgate team's just reliable. They've been there. They've done that many times. And early in the bracket, Navy has to play Army. It's a rivalry game A, and it's a team they lost to in the regular season B. Both teams actually lost to Army. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I think I lean Navy right now. But by the time you finish speaking, Ethan, I might have changed my mind. I have no lean on this conference whatsoever.
Okay. I have to stick with the toothpaste and go with Colgate just because I think they have. I know that you said that Navy has more experience in out of conference, but in terms of who's been winning this conference for the last few years, it's been Colgate, and I think it's going to be continuing to be Colgate in the future as they have more recruits coming in. But I think they've been the most solid team all year long in this conference. Colgate only has 1 loss, and that was all the way back against Army, and that was January 3rd. So that was a long time ago for them. I guess, and at least Colgate's been on fire, and they've been red hot recently. They're on a 10-game winning streak, like you said, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So go toothpaste and go Colgate.
Yeah, I'll ride with the toothpaste.
Record, Michael, real quickly. I did want to say Army will not play Navy early unless it's in the championship. Army's a 4 seed. So, and Navy's the 2.
Navy the 1?
I believe Navy is the 2. Navy's the 1?
I thought Navy was the 1, yeah.
Well,
They're
then
12-1
this is
right
where
now.
I ask Mr. Expert here. Colgate's 11-1. Navy is 15-2.
12
All
and
but
1.
12-1 in conference. Okay.
There you go.
Good clarification point. Appreciate it. See, we ask questions here.
All right, you can make
Gotta
him
learn
move on.
Still taking Navy.
Michael, your thoughts on your
Colgate. I'll stick with
sticking
the
with-
Raiders. Colgate. Yeah.
All right, bold. There we go. So we got all three there. So that one we didn't go as into detail because it's gonna be not as important. But this next conference that we're gonna be talking to is gonna be one of the bigger ones that we're gonna be talking about. Wow, because it's also one of the bigger conferences in college basketball. That is the Atlantic 10. They start tomorrow, which is Wednesday, like I said, and this has been a interesting conferences. Usually the teams that are towards the top are kind of not doing so well, and there have been a few surprises, honestly, in this Atlantic 10 conference. So, Matt, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts and pick for the Atlantic 10?
You take a look at this conference and you see the names that you normally would expect up here. St. Bonaventure, VCU, Dayton. No, that's not Dayton. Davidson, St. Louis. Still, you get the point. St. Louis and, well, not UMass. UMass sucks, but sorry. But those four are normally your expected. Davidson, of course, with Steph Curry a couple years ago. It's been more than a couple years. I'm just old. But the thing is, St. Bonaventure, yeah, I got somebody laughing. I'm proud of that. St. Bonaventure is coming off a bit of a struggle case. They just lost it. They just lost to Dayton. There you go. That's why I got it confused. They just lost to Dayton yesterday. They now head into the quarters after a pretty rough loss at home against Dayton. They would be the favorites heading into this tournament, but that is not a pleasant way to go down. VCU finishes half a game behind them. They're 10-4 in conference. They are the 2 seed. The thing is, this tournament's wide open because there's 14 teams and anything can happen at any given point. Multiple different teams could come and sneak in and have a big run. Seen that happen in recent years in other conferences such as the Big 10 and the Big 12. This could happen here with 14 teams. But if you want my honest pick for who is going to win this conference, I'm going to give you one that's completely out there because this conference every year always seems to have the where the hell did you come from team. And I'm going to go with a team that has come out of nowhere in the past couple of months, but was definitely one worth looking at a couple of weeks ago. How about St. Louis? Javonte Perkins still exists. This team has been in the top 25 numerous times this season. The Billikens are a team to watch at any given point in time. I'm going to go with another bold prediction today. So St. Louis, the 4 seed in the conference, sneaks in here to your total Atlantic 10 championship.
Michael?
I don't hate that pick. I agree with him. This conference is, completely wide open. St. Louis has been a little unreliable at times. They go a little weird at times. I don't know if I can fully trust them, but I think early on you talked about how UMass, you said they suck. Trey Mitchell's a beast, but the rest of that team is not good. So I think the team they play in their first game, St. Joe's, they just got their star back in Ryan Daly, and they've won their last 3 games. So there's an upset pick for me. I'll take St. Joe's over UMass. That St. Joe's team could beat St. Louis is the thing. So I'm not going to go with St. Louis. This conference is wide open. I think Davidson makes a run, but I'll stick with the 1 seed and be a boring person, and I'll take the Bonnies. I like the Bonnies. They got 5 guys averaging double digits. They're a really good team, and they just had their slip up yesterday. That's going to happen, but when you're with a talented team, you're in a talented league. That Dayton team has a ton of talent. I think the Bonnies take it over Davidson, but if I feel like Ethan also picked St. Bonaventure, put me down for Davidson just so I can be different.
Actually, I am not. So, you guys are not really talking about the team with the most wins in this conference, and that's VCU, a team that's been, in my opinion, the most surprising out of anyone in the A10 because they started off really, really slow, and all of a sudden, boom, they just shot up, and they've had some pretty solid wins. They were one of the teams that knocked off St. Bonaventure earlier in the season, and they also knocked off SLU last week. So I think because of how this team has been playing, I think VCU's got it. Yes, they recently just lost to Davidson, and they also just lost to George Mason 2 weeks ago. But I feel like VCU, they have the more wins. They've been able to have success. What about Nashawn Highland, averaging 19.2 points? Dude is carrying this team right now. and people are kind of forgetting about it. And this is why I love the Atlantic 10, because you have no, we watch college basketball and we still don't really know a pure favorite in this conference because of all the different teams and really how everyone is. There's no clear leader in it, kind of like where Dayton was last year when they were supposed to get a 2 seed. But this year it's up in the air, and we have no idea who's going to really win it. But I think the Rams, they have the more wins, the more talent this year, and the more points per game. So I think that VCU is going to go out and kind of shock the world and sneak in. But you never know in this conference.
I mean, I think VCU is a tournament team. They're a really good team. The worry is Bones Highland, as you mentioned. He is just coming off an injury. We're not 100% sure if he's going to play in the tournament. If he does, we're not sure how strong he's going to be. He is their offense versus Kellen Grady of Davidson. He's been there for so long, but he's a bucket. I trust him. I think Davidson will take that game, but I think VCU is the better team, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I think VCU is a tournament team. I think they win a game in the tournament, but I don't know if I trust Bones Highland coming off this injury this quick.
I want to mention another team, and their only reason that the Atlantic, and this is further proving the Atlantic 10. How about Jordan Miller and George Mason? They've won 4 straight games, and they are the 6th seed. This is exactly the point, though. You could really put 6 to 7 teams here that you can consider saying they might win this. They might win this conference. It's going to be wild. I think this is one of the hardest brackets to make. I remember I went like 3-10 last year in this bracket. It's impossible to predict each year because you just don't know what's going to happen at any given point in time.
Yep, and that's why we love college basketball. So those are our picks for the Atlantic 10 conference. We're going to be moving on to our final one. This is the only game that's on Thursday of the ones that we're going to be, or starting on Thursday, that we're going to be discussing. And this one is the Atlantic Sun. So kind of a little bit another smaller league, the A-Sun Conference, as they've only got about 8 teams, as I believe. So it's a lot smaller than the 14 league or 14-team league that we just covered. But there are still some clear favorites in it, in my opinion. There's the top 2, and then it's kind of a mess towards the end. So obviously got Liberty number 1, and they got Bellarmine, who I believe can't play in the tournament, right? They're still on their way in. Matt confirmed that with me.
Bellarmine, they are first year in Division I. They are eligible for the Atlantic Sun tournament, as is North Alabama. They are the 5 seed, but neither can compete in March Madness. So if they win the tournament, it's going to be the team they play in the championship that gets in instead. Wow,
that is a weird way to get in, but you never know, because that's how it is this year with all the craziness and with all the addition of new teams. So with all these different teams and a little bit hard, or at least a lesser known conference, Matt, who do you have winning the A-Sun?
It's one of 2 teams every year, and I think that trend will continue. Liberty is so good every year. Bit of a down year. We say down year, and they're 20-5, but this is a bit of a down year for Liberty. The minute they moved out of the Big South, they've dominated this conference, and I expect that to continue here. Liberty, once again, continues every year to show exactly what they're about. They got another kid. They got Darius McGee, who's back again for Liberty. He's averaging 15, 4, and 2. Big player for their team. Offense kind of runs through him, if you will. He's the only one averaging more than 10. And you take a look at Bellarmine, the other team that I want to focus in on real quick. This is my early out pick. I love Bellarmine. I think it's an incredible story that you come in quick from Division II into Division I and you're already a contender. I do think they drop out pretty quickly in this tournament, though, whether it's no, they're not going to lose to Jacksonville. But I do believe that Bellarmine is in a bit of trouble because they don't have the experience some of these other programs have. I'm going to say Liberty beats Lipscomb in the championship. Those are the 2 teams every year that are in this tournament. They're always going at it. I say Liberty wins again, though, because their team is just so much better than everybody else.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's not much logic in this pick that I'm going to make, but give me Bellarmine. The championship game, this is their Super Bowl. Once Liberty makes the championship game, Bellarmine's playing for everything. Liberty's like, oh, we're going to the NCAA tournament. It doesn't matter. Give me Bellarmine as their Super Bowl. They just lost to Liberty. Revenge narrative. And their coach, Scott Davenport's ringtone is One Shining Moment. I love that. Give me Bellarmine. Give me the Knights. No logic other than that.
I love to hear that. I mean, I really enjoy this whole underdog story, but I can't choose against Liberty. they've won this conference for so many years. At least Liberty and Lipscomb, teams that start with the letter L and the A-Sun usually like to win in this conference. So I think Liberty, since they're 20-5, they played a lot more games than the rest of these teams, except for Lipscomb because they played the same amount. But I think because of that, more experience, more time, more ability and knowledge of playing in the A-Sun, I think Liberty has got it for this one. And I think I'll have to stick with them for the bid, because even if Bellarmine makes it, I think Liberty is going to be the one to do it. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for our part 2 of our conference championship breakdown. We were 7 conferences in. How many? Do the math. 29 left to go, if I'm correct.
We got a lot.
A lot.
I don't know
exactly.
Yeah.
A lot more to break down. So be on the lookout for all the videos. They should be coming out hopefully on time, depending on how I am college-wise, because I may be getting more and more homework and trying to push out and edit as many videos as I can. So we'll see though. But thank you guys for watching this conference video. Hope everyone has enjoyed. And until next time, we'll be here just talking about sports.